Hello, my name is Wayne.
And I'm Rebecca.
And we are Your Bourbon Journey.
Wayne, share a little bit about what prompted this tasting tonight.
Okay, I will. Well, last week we had a friend of ours over for a bourbon tasting, and he's rather new to bourbon. He's a big fan of Old Granddad 114 and 1792. So the discussion got into how much you would spend on a bottle, and for himself at this point, he's not ready to really spend a lot of money, and he's not sure if he ever will be. So we kind of racked our heads and thought about kind of doing a bottom shelf tasting, but not quite a bottom shelf tasting. So we went ahead and purchased 5 different bottles, which my wife will discuss right now.
Yeah, so we decided that why not go with, instead of a strictly bottom shelf, something that was really consistent across the board. So I tried to find 5 bottle and bonds under $30, but I didn't quite make that goal. But I did get 3 bottle and bonds under $30 and 2 other 100 proofs that are also under $30. So these are all, we're going to taste 5 things tonight. I'll just share that one is a benchmark bonded for $17.99. One is Evan Williams bonded, which we paid $23.99. Old Forester 100 proof for $29.99. That's our big ringer for the night. Old Granddad bonded for $25.99, and very old Barton 100 proof at $16.99, which is our bargain of the day, assuming we like it. So these are all 100 proof. They are all at least 4 years old, because they're all, and if they're not bottled in bond, they are a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. So let's dive in. We are doing this blind. I labeled them and poured them, and then Wayne mixed them up, but we know we have the same thing on each one. So we're going to do an express tasting, so to speak. We're not going to spend a lot of time and do all of our cranberries and pecans and everything with it. And then we're going to make some notes, and then we're going to figure out what we like the best.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's start with sample A, which we don't know what it is. I'll just say these are all about the same color.
I would agree.
They're, a very golden, almost honey-like color.
Mm-hmm.
Little bit of caramel.
I'm getting a slight fruit. I'm almost getting a plum on this.
I was leaning towards apple, but that's okay. The ethanol, it's a little hot, which sometimes, even though it's 100 proof, when it hasn't been aged for a really long time or finished just so. So I'm getting some notes of caramel. What else are you getting?
On the taste?
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I find it real bitter. It's to me, it's spicy. The only thing I'm picking up is more on the finish.
I'm getting on the taste. I'm getting some cinnamon. It's almost like a Red Hot. Like the Red Hot candy.
That's probably the spicy part I'm getting.
Mm-hmm. It's not unbearable. The finish is still going. It's a pretty long finish. Pepperish? Are you getting black pepper on the finish?
That reminds me, I'm going to have scrambled eggs tomorrow.
So overall, my first impression is, okay. We'll see how the others do.
My first impression is so-so.
Okay to one is so-so to another.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go ahead and try sample B. A much different nose than the first one.
It's definitely not as much alcohol.
It's got a little bit of zest to it, would you say?
I agree. It's Definitely has cinnamon. And
I'm
honestly,
not getting a lot of sweet notes.
no. And the finish to me, once again, is black pepper.
I don't think the finish is quite as long as sample A,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still long. And I agree, it is black pepper. I'm not getting any oak notes or anything
No.
like that. Again, these were probably in the barrel for 4 years. Let's go ahead and cleanse between.
That's a good idea.
Okay, sample C.
The nose is definitely different on this.
It's very light. I mean that and light and bright and fresh. Almost like berries.
Maybe a really, really slight vanilla.
Or a toffee almost, which I'm kind of surprised with. I'm liking the nose. This might be my favorite nose so far.
I would agree. Do a little hit.
That's pretty tasty.
The barrel comes through in it.
A little bit of oak.
Cinnamon.
I am getting a little bit of that toffiness going on. No fruit notes for me.
No.
But that almost toffee goodness there, and the cinnamon. The finish is more medium, not quite as long as the first two.
The finish for me is it again. I'm getting black pepper. It's been very distinct on all three so far. I'm not sure exactly why, but it's certainly the case.
Yeah, that's probably a good call.
Okay, let's go to 4. Yeah, we should cleanse our palate.
It's helpful with doing 5 different flavors. So sample D.
I'm having trouble getting anything out of this.
It might sound weird, but I'm getting like a hint of butter. There's not much. It's so light and faint. So it doesn't have a strong nose. I'm going to go ahead and try it. Packs a bit of a punch when you drink it, though. A lot more going on. I'm getting a real nuttiness. Now, this is the first time I've gotten something nutty out of these. Almost like a peanut butter. I'm getting peanut butter. Maybe because it was recently Halloween and we still have Reese's cups in the house. I don't know, but I'm getting peanut butter. It's really funny because on the nose I got butter, and then on the palate I'm getting peanut butter and some chili notes almost. It's not really pepper.
I would agree with the chili part. It's gosh,
some kind of light chili pepper, like a peppercorn maybe, or something even.
Almost like a chili powder.
And then the finish is back to being long on this one. I think the finish is really nice. I'm getting some oak notes. The nuttiness is still present in the finish, as well as those little pops of chili. I think it's a pretty nice, long, and good.
Well, the chilies are actually remaining in my mouth, and I tend to really like hot stuff. And the chilies are really effervescent.
And I'm just
very odd.
Sample E here.
Okay.
Did you get anything on the nose?
No.
I'm getting a real creamy vanilla pudding thing on the nose. You've already tasted it. I'll do it too.
I do not like this one. I will actually bump that out to start. Yeah, whatever it is, I find nothing redeeming in it.
Well, I'm still liking it, so
Okay.
I'm going to go through the process here.
Okay.
I feel like this has more rye in it than the others did. It's a little spicier. It's dark. It's darker tasting, much darker. And the finish is only kind of medium for me. And it's
okay.
Again with the black pepper.
Well,
I don't know why we're on the black pepper.
It may be the power of suggestion, but tasting again, I'm getting ryegrass. So I have a feeling I know what this is. And I'm actually really surprised that if I'm right, I don't like it. Because I am going to bump that out already.
Well, I was thinking I would like to, if we could.
Okay.
I would like to go through, and let's just go through. We've done the whole experience with them, but let's go through and just do the nose, and let's figure out what nose we each like the best.
All right.
Maybe we pick our top two.
Okay.
I think I'd have trouble going 1 through 5. I don't think I can do that, but maybe I can nose them and pick my top 2 noses.
Okay.
I like D.
So you picked that one specifically? Okay.
And for the nose.
Ironically, the one that I picked out is one of my 2 would have been E, which I didn't like the taste of, and B. But if I had to pick between the 2, I like B the best.
So go ahead and put a note on your nose there. Not on your nose, but on your nose, on your notes.
On my nose pad or notepad.
So I'm going to pick I like the nose of D best, and then C second. Now let's go through and kind of do the same thing with tasting to see what our top 2 on taste are.
All right.
It might not be related to the top 2 on the nose. Okay, what was your favorite?
Well, it's a clean sweep for me. Of all the 5, I like number 2, which is the one I also like the nose on.
Okay.
And I didn't pick a second this time. I just went with 1.
And I'm kind of sweep. A came into play, but I'm still leaning towards C and D for me. But when it comes to the taste, I'm leaning towards liking C a little bit more and 2 for D.
Okay.
So those, I'm also kind of in that same wheelhouse. You already feel like you have a clear winner.
Yes. I'm going to taste between these 2 since these are my 2 favorites for nose, C and D. My favorites for nose and for finish and for taste. And I'm just going to taste because I'm here.
I'm going to rank C as my number 1.
Okay.
Which I'm not surprised because that was my favorite taste. But I will say that D is a really close one. And you picked which one?
B.
B. So you picked B. You didn't have a second place?
Second place, I didn't particularly like any of them. I guess if I had to go with second place, it'd probably be C.
Okay. So let's find out what these things are.
All right.
So A, which neither of us picked for anything, right?
Well, I will.
Number 5.
Number 5.
Which is?
Very Old Barton.
Very Old Barton. No one picked that.
That's interesting. That's one that actually I like and that we've had before in a tasting. Ironically, months ago, when we had drank some Old Barton on the patio, and we had a discussion about doing something like this because we just liked the way Old Barton tasted that day. So
that is number 3. 1, 2, 3. So sample B is number 3, which is Old Forester.
Interesting.
So that was your favorite.
Interesting. And
he normally doesn't like Old Forester.
I normally do not like Old Forester at all. I am very surprised.
The power of blind tasting right there. That is That's funny.
I guess so.
So this one was very Old Barton, and this one was OFO, and I can check this one. C is 2. So my number 1, and I'm a little shocked by this one. My number 1 is Benchmark Bonded.
Okay. And that was the one that I ranked too as well.
Put that next to the.
Now Benchmark is actually one we have not had until this moment. We have not. I don't think we've tried it before.
Not the bonded.
Yeah.
That is what we get in our. That's the house brand at our favorite restaurant on Wednesday nights.
Yeah.
Archie and Clyde's. Just saying. So sample D, which I had ranked number 2. You didn't have it ranked.
Right.
Evan Williams Bonded was bottled.
And
which means sample
means,
E.
Which is one that I don't like, didn't like here. I've had before and it wasn't bad, but today, Old Granddad Bottle and Bond did not do it for me.
Yep. So right there, that's how it came out. So I lean toward the Benchmark, and my second place was Evan Williams. And you selected Old Forester
and Benchmark.
And the Benchmark. So between the two of us, we each picked Benchmark. So the Benchmark, which was $17.99, is a pretty big winner.
Yes, for the price, most definitely.
So we're going to pause a moment because we want to try something with what's remaining in our glass, and we'll be right back. So we have put 1 ice cube and Diet Coke in our glasses, and we're going to see which one turns out to be a great mixer with Diet Coke.
Yep.
Because then also people that are just getting into bourbon often do not want to drink it neat. They start out mixing it and finding their brand that they really like mixed in a drink in a bar. So let's see which one of these lines up best. So let's try the first one here, which is very Old Barton with Diet Coke. I think that's pretty good. It doesn't have a weird bite to it, which we sometimes find with some things. And being 100 proof, of course, they all are. And it has enough flavor that you taste it.
Yes.
Which is good.
That's it. Number 2.
Old Forester. That's very good. I would order that in a restaurant.
I wasn't crazy about that myself.
Okay, but it was your favorite one.
Yeah, which is funny. There's something about it for me with the Diet Coke that
makes it wonky.
So
all right, well, here's my favorite, which was the Benchmark. Let's see how I like it with Diet Coke. See, now I don't like that at all. So that's kind of funny, which it's almost too sweet with the Diet Coke. And that's why you try these things, right? Because that may be why I liked it better on its own. Mm. And now with the Diet Coke, it tastes like a sweet bomb to me.
Yeah, to me, it's just a little blah.
It's a little too sweet and a little wangy. Is that a thing? Wangy? But okay, now the Evan Williams Bonded. That's pretty smooth.
That's interesting. That's actually not bad. It has a really good bite to it. It's definitely not sweet. That's pretty good flavor.
I like that. Let's try the Granddad Bonded. Oh, Granddad. I'm not liking that one.
I don't mind it, but it's not my favorite. Well,
this was interesting.
Well, I would have to say for myself, the winner of this actually would be the Evan Williams Bottle and Bond. If I had to pick a second, probably the very Old Barton is the only one that doesn't make the Diet Coke get kind of a really funky taste. So I would go with those two.
See, I would eliminate with Diet Coke, Benchmark, and Old Granddad. Mm-hmm. Probably my favorites were Old Forester and Evan Williams, and then very Old Barton was quite good as well. So if I were in a bar and I were looking at their price list and any three of those for me were available and I wanted it with a Diet Coke, because lots of times I'm going to a bar and I'm having dinner and they don't have a nice Glencairn there, I might
Which
just
they don't.
A lot of bars don't. then I'm gonna wait till I get home for my nice neat pour, and I might want something with a Diet Coke at a bar. So I hope that's not sacrilege to anybody, but that's just the way I roll. So now I have 3 choices that are probably going to be a pretty good price point in your local bar.
Yeah, and more than likely, they may even just be the well at your bar.
I've been to several places locally that have Old Forester 86 as their call, but boy, the 100 just takes that up a notch, I think, especially if you're putting it with something.
I would agree.
So we learned a lot today about these 5 selections, and we hope you did too. If you have some ideas of something else you would like for us to try blind and then share with you, we would love to hear from you, and we're willing, if we're able, to do just that. So right now, let's pick one to toast and say, always remember to drink responsibly, and don't forget to subscribe. Cheers.